Take a deep breath. Settle in. Because what we're about to explore together isn't just theology, it isn't just doctrine. It's the foundation of peace in a world that feels anything but peaceful. God is sovereign. 3 simple words that change everything. 3 words that can transform your anxiety into rest, your fear into faith, your chaos into calm. But what does it really mean? And more importantly, how does knowing that God is sovereign change the way you live today, right now, in the middle of your actual circumstances? That's what we're going to discover together. Section 1, what sovereignty really means. When we say God is sovereign, we're declaring something absolutely profound. We're saying that God is the supreme authority over all creation. He reigns. He rules. Nothing happens outside of his awareness, his permission, his ultimate control. Sovereignty means God isn't just powerful. He's all-powerful. It means he isn't just knowing, he's all-knowing. It means he doesn't just have influence, he has complete authority. Think about that for a moment. Complete authority. Not partial, not limited, not restricted by circumstances or surprised by developments. Complete. The God who spoke galaxies into existence, who knows every star by name, who holds the universe together by the word of his power, this same God governs every detail of your life with perfect wisdom, perfect timing, and perfect love. He's not trying to be in control. He is in control. He's not hoping things work out. He's working all things together for your good. He's not worried about the future. He's already there, already working, already preparing the way. This is sovereignty, and it changes everything. Section 2. Nothing catches God by surprise. Let me tell you something that might bring you tremendous peace. Nothing in your life has caught God by surprise. That diagnosis, he knew. That betrayal, he saw it coming. That financial setback, already factored into his plan. That dream that fell apart, he's already orchestrating something better. You see, we live in time. We experience moments sequentially, one after another. We're constantly being surprised by what happens next because we can't see around the corner. But God exists outside of time. He sees the beginning and the end simultaneously. He sees your entire story, every chapter, every page, every word, all at once. What feels like a devastating interruption to you is part of a seamless narrative to him. What looks like a detour is actually the main road. What seems like a disaster is often a divine setup for something miraculous. Nothing catches God by surprise because he ordained the foundations of the earth before time began. He knew you before you were born. He saw this very day, this very moment, before the universe existed. And here's what that means practically. You can stop living in fear of the unexpected. You can stop asking, what if, in that anxious, spiraling way? Because whatever happens, God already knew. And he's already prepared both you and the way forward. Section 3. The sovereignty of God in your hardship. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. If God is sovereign, if he's in control of everything, then why is my life so hard right now? Why did he allow this pain? Why didn't he prevent this tragedy? These are honest questions, real questions, and they deserve a real answer. Here's the truth. God's sovereignty doesn't mean life won't be hard. It means your hardship has meaning. It means your pain has purpose. It means your suffering isn't random or wasted. The Bible never promises us a life free from trouble. In fact, Jesus explicitly told us, "In this world you will have trouble." But then he said something crucial. "But take heart, I have overcome the world." God's sovereignty means that even in the midst of hardship, he's working. Even when you can't see it, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when everything in you wants to scream, "This isn't okay." Joseph understood this. Betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused, imprisoned for years. But when he finally stood before those same brothers who had sold him into slavery, he said something remarkable. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." You intended harm, God intended good. That's sovereignty. God takes what was meant to destroy you and uses it to position you. He takes what was designed to break you and uses it to build you. He takes what was intended to end your story and uses it to launch your next chapter. Your hardship isn't evidence that God has lost control. It's often evidence that he's doing something so significant, so transformative, that it requires the pressure, the testing, the refining. Section 4. Sovereignty and your choices. But here's where it gets interesting. If God is sovereign, if he's in control of everything, do our choices even matter? Are we just puppets? Is life predetermined? This is where we have to hold two truths together. God is completely sovereign, and you are completely responsible for your choices. Both are true, fully true, simultaneously true. God's sovereignty doesn't eliminate human responsibility. It establishes it. He ordained not only the ends, but also the means. He designed a world where our real choices have real consequences and real significance, all while he maintains ultimate control. Think of it this way. A master chess player sits down to play someone learning the game. The master knows every possible move, every strategy, every outcome. No matter what move the learner makes, the master can respond in a way that accomplishes his purpose. The learner's choices are real. They matter. They're not predetermined. But the master's ultimate victory is secure. That's a small glimpse of how God's sovereignty and your free will work together. You make real choices. Those choices matter deeply. But God is so infinitely wise, so infinitely powerful, that he works through all of our choices, good and bad, to accomplish his perfect plan. This means you can't mess up God's plan for your life. Even your mistakes, he redeems. Even your wrong turns, he uses. Even your worst decisions, he can transform into testimonies of his grace. Section 5, resting in his sovereignty. So, how do we practically rest in God's sovereignty? How do we let this truth sink from our heads into our hearts, from theology into lived experience? First, we stop trying to control what we were never meant to control. You weren't designed to carry the weight of outcomes. You weren't created to orchestrate circumstances. You weren't meant to manipulate every situation to ensure your desired result. That's God's job, and he's really, really good at it. Your job is obedience. Your job is faithfulness. Your job is trust. Do what he's called you to do, then release the results to him. Second, we start praying differently. Instead of trying to inform God of what he should do, we align ourselves with what he is doing. Instead of giving him our demands, we surrender to his design. Instead of insisting on our timeline, we trust his timing. Your will be done becomes more than a religious phrase. It becomes your actual posture, your genuine desire, your deepest prayer, because you know that his will is always better than yours. His plan is always wiser than yours. His way is always higher than yours. Third, we interpret our circumstances through the lens of his sovereignty. When something doesn't go the way you planned, your first thought isn't what went wrong, it's what is God doing? When a door closes, you don't panic. You look for the door he's opening. When you face an obstacle, you don't despair. You ask, what is this preparing me for? This is what it means to live in the light of God's sovereignty. Every circumstance becomes an opportunity to trust him more deeply. Every challenge becomes a chance to see his faithfulness more clearly. Section 6, he's sovereign over your future. Let's talk about your future. All those unknowns that keep you up at night. All those questions that create anxiety in your chest. All those variables you can't control. God is already there. Your future isn't uncertain to him. It's not a mystery. It's not a question mark. He's already gone before you and prepared the way. He's already positioned the right people. He's already arranged the right circumstances. He's already lined up the provisions you'll need. This doesn't mean you'll understand everything as it unfolds. It doesn't mean you won't face difficulties. But it does mean you're not walking into the unknown. You're walking into his already established plan. He's sovereign over your career. He knows the jobs you haven't even applied for yet. He knows the opportunities that haven't even presented themselves yet. He's orchestrating connections and opening doors you don't even know exist. He's sovereign over your relationships. He knows who's meant to stay and who's meant to go. He knows who's about to enter your life and what role they'll play. He's protecting you from wrong connections and positioning you for right ones. He's sovereign over your health. He knows every cell, every heartbeat, every breath. He's the ultimate healer, and even when he doesn't heal in the way or timing you expect, he's still in control, still working, still with you. He's sovereign over your finances. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He provides for the birds of the air and the flowers of the field. He knows your needs before you ask, and he's already making provision. He's sovereign over your dreams and calling. He placed those desires in your heart. He gave you those gifts and talents, and he will complete the work he started in you. Section 7. When you can't see his hand, trust his heart. There will be seasons when you can't see what God is doing, when his sovereignty seems hidden, when his plan seems unclear, when his presence seems distant. In those moments, remember this. When you can't trace his hand, you can still trust his heart. His heart towards you is always good, always loving, always for you, never against you. Romans 8:28 promises that he works all things together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Not some things, all things. The good, the bad, the confusing, the painful. All of it. He's working it all together. That word together is crucial. It means he's taking every piece of your story, every experience, every trial, every triumph, and he's weaving it all into a tapestry of grace. Some threads seem dark when you look at them individually, but when he's done, when you see the full picture, you'll understand why every thread was necessary. You'll see why that delay happened, why that rejection occurred, why that season lasted as long as it did, why that relationship ended, why that opportunity didn't work out. You'll see it was all preparation, all positioning, all purposeful. Until then, you trust not what you can see, but who you know him to be. Section 8. Sovereignty means you can stop striving. Here's one of the most liberating truths about God's sovereignty. It means you can stop striving. You don't have to force things to happen. You don't have to manipulate circumstances. You don't have to scheme and stress and strategize your way into your destiny. If God ordained it, it will happen, not because of your effort, but because of his sovereignty. Not because you made it happen, but because he's making it happen. This doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you don't work hard or take action. It means your action comes from rest, not anxiety. From trust, not fear. From obedience, not compulsion. You do your part, then you rest, knowing he'll do his part. You plant the seed, he brings the harvest. You take the step, he orders the path. You show up faithfully, he produces the fruit. This is the rest that Jesus invites us into. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Rest from striving, rest from anxiety, rest from the exhausting work of trying to be God in your own life. He's God, you're not, and that's the best news you could ever receive. Section 9. Trusting his timing. God's sovereignty extends to timing, and this might be where we struggle most. We want things now. We want answers immediately. We want relief today. We want breakthrough this week. But God often works slowly, patiently, over time. Abraham waited 25 years for the promised son. Joseph waited 13 years between his dream and its fulfillment. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading Israel. Jesus waited 30 years before beginning his ministry. God's timing is always perfect, but it rarely feels fast to us. Why? Because he's not just bringing you to a destination, he's developing you along the journey. He's not just giving you the promise, he's making you into the person who can steward the promise. The waiting isn't wasted. It's where transformation happens. It's where faith is built. It's where character is formed. It's where you learn to depend on him more than outcomes. His delays are not his denials. His not yet is not his no. His slowness is not his negligence. He's working in you while he's working for you. He's preparing you while he's preparing the way. He's maturing you while he's manifesting his promises. Trust his timing. It's perfect, even when it's not fast. Section 10. Living in the light of eternity. God's sovereignty becomes even clearer when we view our lives through the lens of eternity. This life is not all there is. This world is not our home. These few years are just the beginning of forever. And from an eternal perspective, God's sovereignty makes perfect sense. The hardship you endure for a season produces eternal glory that far outweighs it all. The waiting you experience now will seem like a blink when you see what he was preparing. The suffering that feels unbearable in the moment will be seen as light and momentary compared to the eternal weight of glory. This doesn't minimize your pain. It contextualizes it. It doesn't dismiss your struggle. It gives it meaning. God is sovereign, not just over your life today, but over your eternity. He's not just managing your circumstances, he's shaping you for forever. He's not just handling your present problems, he's preparing you for eternal purposes. Everything you face here has eternal ramifications. Every trial is building eternal weight. Every act of faithfulness is producing eternal fruit. Every moment of surrender is storing up eternal treasure. This changes how you view your current struggles. They're not random, they're not pointless, they're not wasted. They're eternal investments superintended by a sovereign God who sees the full picture. Section 11, Surrendering Control. The pathway to experiencing the peace of God's sovereignty is surrender, not a passive giving up, but an active laying down, a conscious, deliberate choice to release control to Him. Every day, in every situation, you have a choice. Will you trust His sovereignty or trust your ability to control? Will you release or grasp? Will you surrender or strive? Will you trust or take over? Surrender says, God, I don't understand this, but I trust you. Surrender says, God, this isn't what I wanted, but I know you're good. Surrender says, God, I can't see the way forward, but I know you can. Surrender says, not my will, but yours be done. This is how Jesus prayed in the garden. This is the posture He modeled. Even facing the cross, even in agony, even wanting another way, He surrendered to the Father's sovereignty. And that surrender led to resurrection. That submission led to salvation. That yielding led to redemption for all humanity. Your surrender might feel like death. It might feel like loss. It might feel like the end. But on the other side of surrender is always resurrection, always redemption, always the goodness of God. Section 12. Practical steps to trust His sovereignty. So, let's make this practical. What does it look like today in your actual life to trust God's sovereignty? First, start your day with surrender. Before you check your phone, before you make your to-do list, before you start planning and organizing and controlling, take a moment to say, God, I surrender this day to you. Your will, not mine. Your way, not mine. Your timing, not mine. Second, when anxiety rises, speak truth. When worry creeps in, when fear starts to take over, when you feel the need to control, remind yourself out loud, God is sovereign. He's in control. He's working all things for my good. I can trust Him. Third, practice gratitude for His sovereignty. Thank Him for being in control. Thank Him for having a plan you can't see yet. Thank Him for working behind the scenes. Thank Him for His perfect wisdom and timing. Fourth, look for evidence of His sovereignty in your past. Remember when He made a way. Remember when He provided. Remember when He protected you. Remember when He turned it around. Remember when He showed up. Those past faithfulnesses are proof of His present and future sovereignty. Fifth, surrender your timeline. Stop demanding things happen by certain dates. Stop insisting on your schedule. Release your expectations about when and how, and trust His perfect timing. Closing, building to encouragement. Friend, God is sovereign over every detail of your life, over every circumstance you face, over every person who has hurt you, over every opportunity you've missed, over every door that's closed, over every dream that's been delayed. He's sovereign over the parts of your story that make sense and the parts that don't, over the seasons that were beautiful and the seasons that were brutal, over the victories and the valleys, over the progress and the setbacks. He's never surprised, never confused, never worried, never scrambling to figure out what to do next. He's God, the sovereign, almighty, all-knowing, ever-present God, and He loves you with an everlasting love. That means you can rest, you can truly rest. Not because your life is easy, not because you have all the answers, not because you can see the full plan, but because He is God, and He is good, and He is in control. You don't have to figure it all out. That's His job. You don't have to make it all work. That's His job. You don't have to fix everything. That's His job. Your job is to trust, to obey, to surrender, to rest in His sovereignty. And when you do, you'll find a peace that surpasses understanding, a confidence that isn't shaken by circumstances, a hope that endures through every season. Because your hope isn't in outcomes, it's in Him, and He never fails. So today, whatever you're facing, remember, God is sovereign. He's got you. He's got this. He's working all things together for your good. And that changes everything. Rest in that truth. Live in that truth. Let it anchor your soul and steady your heart. God is sovereign. And because He is, you're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're going to see His faithfulness in ways that leave you in awe. Trust Him. He's worthy of your trust, today, tomorrow, and forever. Amen.